Okay, this should be working now. Yes? Hopefully sound's happening. Yes? If I can get a thumbs up or something from the chat, that'd be wonderful. Um, hi, I'm JJ, developer advocate for the IBM Cloud. And Mofi will be joining me in a little bit, but he's caught up doing something. So I figure I might as well get started. As you can see from the title at the bottom, I'm going to be playing with, or we're going to be playing with AWX and Ansible today. We have some pretty good stories around using AWX and Ansible now, and we're going to continue on with those. But while we're waiting, I'm actually working on a small little side project because I am lazy and a sysadmin, so I am writing some Ansible playbooks to get a little bit more comfortable with them. I came from the chef world, and so Ansible's a little bit different, but I'm starting to see the beauty of it, and I'm working on building random playbooks. So let me go ahead and share my screen, and I can kind of show you where I'm doing now, and then maybe it'll inspire someone to take a little bit deeper look. Okay, so yesterday, I went ahead and released this book, or this playbook, by repositories. And this was just a very simple example. I'll put this inside the chat, so if you want to take a look at it. Basically, so I run VMs for stuff because I'm still a sysadmin and I don't do everything in containers on Kubernetes yet. But occasionally, you need machines to send emails to you, whether it be cron jobs failing, maybe you're running a task on there and you want an email when it's done. There's a lot of different things. If you don't know, you can install Postfix, and Postfix can send out emails just fine with you. But the challenge is a lot of email clients, because you're not actually on the real internet, or you have you're just some random IP out there sending emails. Gmail and Outlook.com and company emails usually target or mark them as spam, so you never actually get them, which is kind of annoying. But you can, and what I've done here in this playbook, you can send it through Gmail. So maybe I can find one real quick. Give me 2 seconds here. So basically, you have Postfix talk to Gmail and using your credentials in Gmail, and then sends it out through there. So if I bring up Jenkins, let's take, for instance, this build failure here. I don't want to put everything on here, so let me go ahead and just take a screenshot of it real fast. And so as you can see here, actually, no, this is wrong because this is actually going through something else. All mail. Let's see. I should have gotten one from my test. Here we go. So if you see here, crosshair spread shop right there. So as you see right here, I sent in from a random machine, which was what I was running this one playbook off of, the Postfix playbook here. I went through saying I am jjasgar@gmail.com to Gmail, and then sent a test email from it. So now if I go into this playbook here, it's a very basic playbook, but that's how I like writing my stuff. I like writing modules for everything, something I learned from the chef world. And it's still the same idea. You can wrap all these things up into like one big thing if you want. So you can just work on individual timelines, if you will. But as you can see, it's very basic, where it installs Postfix, then edits out a main.cf, creates the generic. But the actual secret sauce here is done with this password file. So if you come in over here into the template and you take a look at the password file, It tells it to go to the SMTP gateway for gmail.com, uses my Gmail address because obviously this is mine, and then you tag in one of your app passwords, which if you've never seen it, is one of these guys. And in this case, all I have to do now is uses an extended variable with that -e for Gmail password with a fake password, or not that one obviously, but another one, and I can run it against any machine that I have root on, and it'll install Postfix and configure it so it comes out through my Gmail account. So then I don't get the weird, like this might be spam or whatever. It even, as you see right here, even does the direct link to it too, which is really nice. So now I don't have to go through and Google every single time how to set up Postfix. I can literally run a single command, in this case with a host file or whatever, and shotgun out a bunch of configurations to get emails to work. This is really cool because it also does it through the host names. So if I actually brought up a little bit more, let's see if I can bring it up real quick. And I will look at show original. Hopefully now there's nothing too secret in here. There we go. So as you can see right there, hopefully you can see that. That is the actual host mail that I'm running from, and I'm using MailX here. And I send it directly to myself. And I was using the user root because that's thing. But it brings in this really nice just way to have machines send me email. I'm pretty proud of this actually. Hey Mofi. Maybe. Nope. How about now? Say words, Mofi.
Hello.
There we go. There we go.
Yes. What is happening here? mail.google.com.
Yeah. So I was just describing with us doing all this work on Ansible and AWX, I thought it was prudent for me to actually learn how to write some good playbooks. So I've been sitting there finding random little options of times I would need a playbook to do something. And I released yesterday just a very simple playbook here that configures Postfix to talk to your Gmail account to route mail through it. So
okay. Quick backup. What is Postfix?
Oh my God, you're so young. You're so young. Postfix is something called an MTA, a mail transfer agent. So it's how email gets transferred around on computers. Postfix, one of them. There's something called XM out there. One of the most famous one out there for Office people is something called Exchange, is an MTA. I was an email administrator for a couple of years, so I spent a lot of time learning how to run email servers. And Postfix is the one that I kind of just landed on because it made sense to me. There's one called Qmail that is the not good. But anyway, so the beauty of this is by writing this very simple playbook, and I'll bring it up again here because you probably didn't see it. This playbook sets all the configuration up to take over the email on a local machine, on a local. It's very true. That's very true. Matt Hamilton, yes. I learned about what is it? Epoch time because of Qmail. Why can't you just use it all the time, man? Why do I have to convert it in the logs? Doesn't make any sense. But anyway, okay. So in essence, what this does is I can just now run this one simple playbook against the machine and put in a fake password, or this is just an app password, as you can see, an app password from Google accounts. And obviously, because it's attached to my email, I do it with mine. But someone could take this and override the Gmail account for Mofi codes or whatever. And when you send an email, it comes back as an actual email. So as you can see here, it doesn't say it's like this is possibly spam or anything like that, because you're telling Gmail that this is actually me sending the email to something. So in theory, you can ship logs out through it through on a machine or whatever. Or if a cron fails on a box, you actually get a real email. It doesn't get stuck in your spam mail or whatever. So you actually see it. I do this. I set up email accounts. I set up postfix to talk to Gmail so many times. I've done it so many times. It's unreal. I finally sat down and realized I could just write a really simple playbook, and it does it for me. So just to prove, again, this right here, and this is what I was talking about just a moment there. The host name of the machine is testing email and Git, because I couldn't think of anything better to call that VM. And then it comes directly from root. But any user who is on the machine, so if I had created like a Git user or whatever, it would come as Git instead of root, which is nice. And just to prove one more time also, it is actually MailX sending it. So anything that I can send with mail, which is nice. So in your cloud native world, Mofi, this would be like running on a node of a Kubernetes node or something. So if Kubelet died or something, you could get an email saying, hey, Kubelet died on node 9 or whatever.
No.
But I would. No? Okay.
No. You don't. In cloud native, if someone dies, we don't mourn. We don't mourn. We don't. We don't make mistakes. We make corrections.
There you go. I like it.
That's what we do. But no, this is cool. But yeah, I think like in our last few weeks of AWX or Ansible exercise, it's just that the goal of any kind of automation is to replace anything we were doing by hand, do it automatically. So in that vein, yeah.
Yep.
Great.
And now I've learned a lot more about the different portions of playbooks and the actual primitives inside of it. Kind of like when we were talking yesterday off stream, and we were talking about tickling APIs. In the process of doing the research on this little side projects that I've been just trying to get myself familiar with the primitives of Ansible, I was able to find that URI module almost instantly, because I knew exactly what to look for and realized, oh, it's just curl, right? Like it just does the thing, which is exactly what we wanted, which is really cool. If you weren't going to show up for a little while, I was going to continue on with this second one I was going to build.
All right, go for
the
it.
second playbook. So I'm a masochist. I'm not gonna lie. Every good sysadmin is. And there are, and I'll just kind of set the stage, and then we can move on to something else. But if you don't know, there's a handful of Gmail or Git hosting systems out there. One famous one is something called Gitia, which is this guy right here. It's just a Go binary that allows you to, as you can see, I've been writing quite a few different things, which basically gives you the same interface that like you'd have with GitHub, but it's like one binary, and it writes it all to the hard drive, which is kind of cool. And then you can have like multiple, like you know, have multiple people join this or whatever. I think a lot of good companies actually use Gitia inside because it scales really well. It's not as how much overhead as GitHub or GitLab, and it just does the Git portions, which is really nice. So if you look at the exact same code that I put for on GitHub, I have here now on a private repo, so I can play with it here for like passwords.
What do you mean? What do you mean it does the Git portion really well? You mean to say Git is supposed to be just its own thing and not everything like CI/CD, paying my bank's bill, my electricity, and all that?
Exactly. Like you get PRs.
I don't understand what you mean. No, like I think my Git client should do everything. It should do my taxes.
Exactly. Like systemd, right? Systemd should run everything on your machine, and Git should do everything for you too.
Take my dog walking and
exactly. But yeah, in all seriousness, it really does just do those portions really well. Well, I set this up on a VM. Obviously, you can see I'm using it now. But I have a romantic idea. So it turns out there's something even more stripped down, which is called cgit. You ever heard of this thing?
I have not.
Okay. If any of my friends, but do you get to do it with Emacs or Emacs? Did you get? Oh, so Matt. So you just opened up a whole world here. So I actually am quoted on the Maggot site for Maggot. What the? Maggot. Maggot. Oh, they moved it to VC. So I used to use this all the time. Like this is actually how I would interface with Git. But does he still have me on here? Hang on. User quotes. There I am, right there. So yeah. I used to use it, like Maggot used to, and I used to work really, really well together because I used to do everything inside of Emacs because I only had one machine and I was doing development work and I didn't actually ever have to touch anything. But now that I'm going back to doing some actual like development work on different machines and all, and I actually have like access to clouds and shit, I now need to kind of use Vim to do things. So I went back to Vim, but no joke. I'll put this in the chat there. Emacs and Git and I, we have a very, very strong relationship. But anyway, rolling back to this though, or rolling back to this guy. This is cgit. So if you didn't know, most of the ways Git repositories are put on a machine, like so Git is supposed to be a distributed version control system, DVCS, right? Where I have my copy of the code, you have your copy of the code, and we can send patches back and forth, and it's distributed, right? So there's no source of truth. Well, GitHub, in their infinite wisdom over time, changed that paradigm, where in general, I realize this is being a little bit facetious, but they turned Git into not a distributed version control system because you're supposed to do more or less everything on GitHub. That becomes the main source of truth, right? The upstream. In this case, postfix Git Gmail playbook, right? Well, underneath the covers, if you didn't know this, most Git repositories on something like this is called a bare repo. It's like git init -- bare, where it just puts the history in there. It doesn't actually it puts the code in there, but it's obfuscated away. It's just a directory with a .git directory. It's just a directory with a .git directory inside of it, and not the actual code. So you can't go into the bare directory and start like hacking on it. It just has the history inside of it. So, so that becomes like the source of truth where you would pull from and all that jazz. cgit was designed to be a web interface to a bare repo and it's super fast, written in C, and it's very lightweight, where you basically see, as you see here, a bunch of really, really nice like features and whatnot. So in theory, I found this guy who's right here, and I'll put this in the chat also for anyone who's curious. From what it looks like, from what I did with Gitia, which is just one app running on a machine, I could write a playbook that on a Fedora box installs all this stuff for me. And then the coolest part is it goes all through this authorized keys file right here, right? So in theory, I could spin up a machine on the internet with an external IP and have git.asgar labs or Mofi codes or whatever, and we could have an interface that we could see just like cgit here with everything already set up, and then like one or two repos in there. And then when we wanted to create a new repo to do something, we go into the machine, do a git init bare, and then create the little blob at the end, which is literally just like this right here. No, this right here. And it just, then all of a sudden you have a disposable central location to write code. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know. It felt like something that would kind of be fun to mess around with. Hopefully by the time we stream next week, I'll have it actually done and iterated on. But that's kind of where I'm coming from. Like, again, there's a bunch of things in here that you have to think about. Like, if you look, there's some SE Linux things in here you got to deal with. got to deal with some templates because of SSH keys, got to add some users, make sure some packages are installed, and then make sure this file is templatized properly, and then make sure HTTPD is installed correctly. And then the neat thing would be is to also create some directories inside of it. So there's like a README directory or something like that. So it talks about whatever it is, as you see here, kind of like the main README with the about right here. So anyway, so that's kind of my next little project that I was working on.
Right.
But what are we doing today, Mofi?
Oh boy, you made me forget what I was gonna do today. There was just too much terminal stuff happening. But anyway, let's get to it. I will share my screen real quick. So last week we talked a little bit about how we wanted to create almost like a client for our AWX SDK. And if you go to the AWX GitHub repo, AWX and wait, that's not it. It's Ansible AWX.
Yep.
AWX. So AWX is, for lack of a better term, is a humongous thing. It does a shit ton of different things any given time. If you want to see how many different things AWX does, the easy way to do is AWX Swagger, and you will see this like Tower API reference guide. And it's so big, it takes a second even to like render this here. Right? It's just, it's one of like, it's big, right? So if you were to say, I want to be able to, and it's a fair assumption to say, what's that?
It looks like
the
a
color?
rainbow when you're while you're scrolling back and forth, it looks like a rainbow.
yeah. So it's nice. Yeah, but like, I don't care about the color as much as I care about being able to talk to this thing via my code. So previously we have shown that if you have the API key, you can just make a curl request to your AWX server. You can also look at your AWX server by going to /API, and you get the same information, but here you get a more of a structure where you get to see everything you can do in your thing, right? So in your AWX server. So there are a lot of different things you could do, and so since this is a representation of a Swagger doc, my first thought was, you know what? If I could get my hand on that swagger.yaml, life would be good, because I can then just generate my client API, right? With Swagger, generating a server API is difficult because server API doesn't know exactly how the server is supposed to do things. But clients are much easier to build with Swagger, because your client can just generate something that can call the internet, call the endpoint, right? So that's much easier. So my first thought was, okay, how do I get my this Swagger doc? Again, like a normal person, I would come to that AWX GitHub repo and feel like, okay, where's your swagger.yaml file? Okay, it doesn't look like there is any. Well, it didn't take me too long to figure out where it was. So the way to get to your swagger.yaml is if you go to contributing.md, and if you want to develop AWX itself, there are documentation how you can develop AWX by running the Docker Compose build, then executing into one of the containers and running make Swagger.
Wow.
Where is that? When you run make Swagger, that generates the Swagger file for you. Okay. So, I mean, it's not, so it kind of is a telling that AWX is not, it's not meant for people to just get the Swagger YAML willy-nilly, but that was not going to stop me from getting it. So I went through the hoops and finally found the swagger.yaml. And first thing that happened after I got the Swagger YAML, turns out the Swagger, this make Swagger generates is not valid Swagger. It is missing a description tag from almost like 100 something different of the definitions they have.
Hang on. Before you go any farther, I'm curious. Let's go look at the make file in that make Swagger, that line inside of make. Maybe it's something we can add upstream, so it adds that description.
So it is not going to, I looked at it. It's not going to, because this make Swagger is pulling the data from Python code. So the documentation from their AWX code, it generates this Swagger file.
Does it really?
Yeah.
kind of dumbass shit is
I mean, that's how, I mean, that is good practice though. Like your code is your source of truth. That's good. I'm not mad about that part. For example, if you're looking at API, if you're looking at, I don't know, let's look at one of them that I think is gonna have some, so you have swagger.py here. And so it generates, it does, so auto schema, what does auto schema do? I don't know enough Python to just look at it and be able to tell exactly what it does, but I'm pretty sure what they do is they have these comments in their code.
So
Right?
it looks like it runs here. So I'm sorry, I'm stuck on this.
Hello,
Code show,
Code
hello. Yes.
Verified? How do you get verified? Oh my god, that's unfair. We have royalty in our mix.
Yeah, no, we got to figure that one out.
Yeah, I mean, the whole verified situation always like it's funny to me because, for example, like what does verified really mean? Like you are you, like, and if you're not verified, am I not really me? Like how? Anyway, so
hold on, Mofi, hold on.
okay,
Hear me. So let's just walk through real quick. Click on that link.
okay, here it is.
So as you see there, the Swagger is at 350. It runs reports, and then it does make Swagger py test gen schema create db. No wait, hold on, that's not right. No. Oh no, it's line 354. That looks like it. So it runs py test. Hang on. Oh come on, really? Why can't I scroll? Jesus Christ.
You can scroll. Where can you not scroll?
Oh no, hold on. No, this doesn't do. It doesn't build a Swagger JSON file. Because what it does is it runs py test against functional API test docs, the release target, then tease everything out to a dot report.
Let me try to see if I have that still running somewhere, right? So
Okay.
SSH workstation. I did it on a VM because it looked like it wanted Ubuntu machine, not a Mac. Okay, I have that still running. So I can tools AWX, so I can do Docker exec -it this bash. All right, so cd devil cat make file. So that's the make file. Okay, here we have the Swagger here somewhere, hopefully. Do you see Swagger? Okay, so yeah. Yeah, that's the file you were looking at. So this somehow generates the Swagger. That's some voodoo magic happening here. I don't.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, never mind.
Anyway, so again, I mean, it was missing it. It was a very simple fix. I looked at some of the other examples they had. You just have to add in the Swagger schema like a literally one line that is. Also, I'm looking for. I have that running somewhere. Here it is. Here it is. So I have gone through most of it, and you just had to add this description equals this. If it's not there, it is not valid Swagger. That's just the only problem. And the other thing was this Swagger file is about 70,000 lines long. It's quite long. And
I was going to say code show is on the Ansible development team, and he works on Galaxy, but he might be able to give us some advice and or suggestion about what you discovered about this not being valid Swagger. He might be a good person to talk about this.
All right, awesome, cool. Also, who added this all this stuff? I probably did that. Anyway, so okay, so I have this swagger.yaml now. Now I can generate some client code. And at that point, I was thinking, okay, so I'm going to generate some client code. I mainly write Go. So how do I generate client code using Go? So we have one, Swagger to client code. And Swagger itself has ways to generate client code built into it. But the code it generates, it's pretty ugly. It doesn't, also it's not the nicest code to work with. So there is another project in the Go community called Go Swagger. Although it doesn't look like it's maintained as much anymore. But I mean, yeah, last touched was like about a year and a half ago. I mean, 18 days ago, some Go models updated, but in terms of code contribution, doesn't look like it is doing too much. A lot of open issues as well. But again, I was gonna say if it does the job, and if it does, I'm good. So went through that, ran it, and then comes the point where I felt like it was not doing anything. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The main problem was, if you look at any of the APIs here, so let's open up any of them. Let's say this get one. I don't even know what this one's supposed to do, but let's open this up. If you look at the response, oh, wow. Okay. This one actually has a response. So that's the wrong one. That's not a one I want to see. The ones I cared for was maybe the inventory get inventories. And if I were to scroll down here on the response, you would see 200, but it doesn't actually show you a structure of the object that it will come back. That means it doesn't exist on the Swagger doc. If it doesn't exist on the Swagger doc, when you create the client also doesn't know what to return with. So for me, the client was only returning 200. It was not actually returning me an object. So at that point, since I actually never worked with Swagger to generate a client before, I was not sure whether or not I was doing the client generation wrong or the Swagger schema was wrong, because it's also hard to navigate a 70,000 line long file because my text editor gets slow when I try to scroll through it too fast. But eventually I found out that, okay, I'm missing the schema. Now then comes the other fun part. So if you take a Swagger, and again, this is not a paid promotion, but again, if you're using Postman, big shout out. Postman is great. So if you give Postman structure of Swagger schema, Postman actually can generate their collection from it automatically. Now I have this giant collection that I can use now. And now I can generate this data. Now I get this JSON response. There is a better way to do this, but that's how I'm doing this. So I will come back here and generate JSON schema with this first. And again, Swagger 2 is basically just JSON schema. So I'll take this, copy that, go here, replace that to get the YAML. Okay, so replace that to get the YAML. Then come back to my, where's my code? Come on.
We have some interns.
Oh yeah, that's what I was just saying, that in our summer interns, like they have left and they did some amazing project. But if I still had access to them, I'd be like, you know what? This is what you do today. You give me some schema made. So then I come here, I can create this schema object in the bottom. Then I reference that on my response to my 200. And so for example, one of them would be /API/:. So this is the one. So I added this reference to this now. And since I have done that and used that to generate my client again, now you would see that I have this API version response object. And if I were to go here, where to go to versioning client, and you would see that my client response, this versioning list, okay, has a field called payload now, which is basically what I want. All right, so it's a lot of long-winded way of saying that I have a decent way of getting. So let me show you that it does actually work. And this is my token. I have to get rid of that now. Damn it. That's okay. Resp error, and then API client dot versioning. I spelled versioning wrong. Dot versioning list. So I don't have to pass any parameter, and then I'm going to pass the bearer token auth. And once I have done so, I have the response object, and the response have a field called payload. And now I can say go run main.go. And as you will see, after some seconds pass, yeah, I don't know why it takes a second usually, but I don't know if it's supposed because of my code or something else. But anyway, after it works, you see that data comes back. So
nice.
It's a long-winded way of saying that we got the API thing sorted out. If I see the performance is still an issue, because we don't necessarily need all 529 endpoints to be implemented, I might at some point think of ways where the only because again, it's all built on top of like REST calls. So I could also generate the code using Postman if I want to, if I was feeling lazy, because Postman is nice. It generates the code for me. Or right there, right? So I could probably use the Postman to generate the code for all 529 collection. It will be a very ugly generated code, but again, it will work. So whew, I ran out of breath talking about all these different steps. So at this point, I am half a mind about trying to automate like these whole steps that I'm taking, right? Because it is possible. Then at the same time, I know I need about 15 of those endpoints. I'll probably spend more time trying to automate this than actually doing a little bit of copy pasta and be done with it. I don't know. Like I'm just kind of like, yeah.
Yeah, man. Like, I mean, you showed what you had to do, and so the JSON to YAML is just a JQ command,
Right. It is, yeah.
And then the other one is what? Can we see that one real quick?
So this one is converting JSON object to JSON schema. I guess there are libraries to do that. But yeah.
I don't actually know what a JSON schema is.
So JSON schema is the same thing as Swagger 2.0.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. So Swagger 2.0 basically speaks JSON schema in YAML form, or JSON. It also speaks JSON in JSON form. So okay, so JSON to JSON schema. We can all so that's the one I've been using. Maybe you can also find converter Golang. Is there anything like library type stuff? Yeah, so I don't want to go through the whole because that one is this one already does what it does. If I can,
there's got to be an API to it though, right?
You would think, right? Because they look like seems like they want to have a paid option to do this.
Oh, really?
But again, the point is, if I spend enough time going through the how the conversion works, I can probably write one. But again, what I'm dreading is I will go down this rabbit hole of implementing something like a full-fledged thing, then use it for 15 of those endpoints and never touch it again. So it's one of those things where I don't want to repeat myself over and manually do this thing. But I feel like if I don't want to do manually, I will end up doing more work and spend more time in it.
It could be a good citizen thing here, right? Like if you figure out a way to automate this, you write it so then it releases the Swagger JSON like with every single release of AWX. If you look at AWX, there's a lot of those releases, right? So, and they probably are adding more endpoints and whatnot to it. So you could take the upstream, create the Swagger JSON, and then give it back to the community. Be like, hey, here's a valid Swagger.
I see how you're trying to get me to do more work, JJ. Now, okay, so the other part of this is then after we generate this thing, I'll have to then figure out a way to inject this into all 500 different endpoints, more than 500 different endpoints I have in Swagger, like go in and add the schema. So once I have this one done once, maybe generating the code would be much easier afterwards. Like I just come back and replace this with the schema that I generate in the bottom. But even then it is, it's more of like a tedious thing like we have to do than anything else.
I'm just so surprised that they don't, like there isn't someone we could talk to about just getting this programmatically created upstream. It
Yeah,
just seems
like
so weird.
I mean, so since AWX is or Tower is using like Swagger, I don't understand why their Swagger doesn't talk about what it responds with, unless that is something it is not. It's dynamic, and I'm just like copying one of them, and I'm gonna break my application in about a week. That is also possible, but I don't think so. So far, again, I've been playing with it for 2 weeks about, and so far it looks like the output is more or less consistent. So yeah, that's where we're at. Again, for the time being, I already did like 7 of them out of the 15 I need. I already did like 6 or 7 of them. And like, since I have added new ones that I didn't generate the model for, at this point, all is left to do is come here and say Swagger generate client, and it should go off. And I have the Swagger brew installed thing. I installed the Swagger binary by brew, so I have that in my path. So it is using this Swagger YAML, is going to validate it. Once it's happy with it, it's going to start replacing this client and model folder in place.
We do that for Pulp. Every new release on CI generates new bindings
I
based on
don't
Swagger.
know what pulp is.
Yeah, bring that up real quick.
Yeah, well, hold on. Let me just go to my terminal browser thing and bring pulp. Pretty good. Okay, so pulp open API generator. Okay, what does it do? Generate Python and Ruby bindings for pulp core of. Okay. Okay. Nice. So so I don't know if, okay, what does it, so it generates the client for pulp, I'm guessing, right? With open API. But my problem right now is that the Swagger so even if I go and automate the process of getting the swagger.yaml every time, or swagger.json in that case, every time from AWX, that Swagger will always be that incomplete version that I'll have to first fix, then add all the missing response schemas every time that I'm doing it. And
as Coach just says, Pulp is the Python dependency manager that empowers Ansible and Satellite, or Ansible Galaxy and Satellite.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Ansible Galaxy, so thank you for your work on that side. Ansible Galaxy is pretty cool. I am a proud publisher of one module and Ansible Galaxy, and the whole process was really great. And I showed JJ the other week how to go about doing this, and I'm sure he will agree too, right? The process of generating one was pretty smooth.
It really was.
And you're only limited by your ability or inability to code Python. And yeah, so in our case, that was pretty limiting.
Yeah, it really was.
I'm pretty bad at coding in Python. But that being said, I mean, Python is one of those languages. It's easy to learn, hard to master, and easy to get something done with. So it was still a good experience for me to build something with Python. So in this time, it is still waiting or planning operations, whatever that means. And eventually it will come back, and we should be able to see that we have like 5 or 6 models in this list, because that's how many I have added. And as we are going through it, we'll add more. So that's something we'll come back to. Now let's talk about some other things we have been pondering how we get about doing. And one of them is letting a job that is running right now in Ansible, AWX, what its ID is. And if you are so you might be wondering, what is the purpose of that whole thing? A job is just running. Why do you care about what its ID is? It's because, again, it's kind of the whole picture is we are running AWX to run some of our job, but we also need some way to come back and monitor the job, or come back, get information about the job. So getting the job ID stored somewhere else would be beneficial for us. And the easiest way to do that is if the job itself lets the information known to other things. Now, you send me the link. There is a Stack Overflow article on it.
Excellent.
The Stack Overflow. So it said, it talked about how do you get the tower
Yeah, the
job ID,
tower. Yep.
job
So let's
ID, right?
throw that into a playbook and just run it and see it come out.
Right. So I think what I'm more interested in is not just the tower job ID. I actually care for both of them. So there is the tower job ID that is like job ID of one of the things, one of the jobs. But
Mm-hmm.
I'd also want the job
Oh,
ID
the
of the
workflow
workflow
ID.
itself, right? So workflow itself is a
Oh,
job, right? So I don't know if that will. Okay, so let's open up our AWX instance real quick, wherever that is. Okay, here it is. Here we are, and that's not what I was looking for, but quite simply, I can do this. Make me log in again. I shall do so. Okay, so here we have, let's say, our templates, and in the templates, we will see I have this one template. So this one, Kate's with Istio.
mm-hmm.
And let's see in our jobs if we have any Kate's with Istio job running. So this is a workflow job. And let's say I open this one up real quick, and this one ran and this one finished. This is the ID of this job's ID was 65.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if it's doing things. It's going crazy now. Okay, I'll let it continue. So let's find that real quick. So I'm gonna go to API, then V2, then I'm gonna go to jobs, and then I'm gonna go to ID, and job std out. Can I do that? Yes. So I'm gonna try. That was 65,
Mm-hmm.
and I want format to be in JSON. Oh man, not found. What did I do wrong? Was it not 65?
Yeah,
It
it's easy
was.
for that.
So is there any other thing called workflow job? Workflow jobs. See
Is
that?
there a list here? List of workflow jobs. That one first. Let's see that one first. Get that
Okay.
one.
Okay. So list workflow jobs, run that. We're gonna get quite a lot of the information there. So there is only 7, so not too much. So 65 is something that I can search for. Let's see. 65. I'm not typing anything. 65. Geez. Okay, so that's the one. Workflow job 65. We got that. Okay, good. Now, what other endpoints do we have available to us at that? Okay, so list, retrieve a workflow job, delete a workflow job, list activity stream, list labels, list notification, list workflow job nodes.
Try the
Okay,
yeah, that one.
yeah, that's the one I was gonna do. Okay, so get rid of that, make that into 65, send that, and see what we get from that. So we have this one job, and
Sorry about that. I tried to
yeah, that's
mute
okay.
while before I sneezed, and I think I just sneezed into the mic.
Okay, so we have this. So it doesn't necessarily say what made this job. So you have to figure out from this, somehow figure out what are the jobs that ran because of this workflow job.
Hang on. Scroll down real fast. Keep going. Okay, so created by no. Unified job template ID 14. No. I'm thinking there might be a way to like maybe it has each job template in there, and then we can correlate that information with the job templates to get the feedback, right?
Yeah, well, so if I were to take a quick look at this one, right? This one
Mm-hmm.
has this information somehow that you can go and look at details.
That's 66. So go back to the job thing, the JSON,
Yeah.
and look for 66.
Yeah, we could do that probably. So 66. Gee, no, there is only 166 in this page.
Really? Lame.
So, I'm just trying to figure out how would I go about finding.
Try the list activity streams down.
List.
Try that one.
Okay. and params 66. I don't want to.
No, so try 65 first.
Oh yeah,
It's a
65.
workflow.
Right.
Yeah, it's a
So
workflow.
65. Get rid of the page size, and search.
65. We're looking for 66.
Nope.
Damn it.
Yeah, so just like so this is one of the things we'll need to figure out. How do we
Okay,
get...
one last time. The workflow job nodes. Maybe that's not like node of a machine. Maybe that's the white boxes.
This
That's
one?
the terminal. Yeah, try that one last.
All right.
65.
65.
I'm not giving up, Mofi. Not giving up.
No, I mean, again, yeah, we don't have time. What I was gonna do is look at the jobs itself, and does the job somehow talk to the parent job that started it? That's what I was gonna look at.
66.
Oh, here you go.
It is.
Job.
Hey, it was there.
Wait, no, it just says 66, but
And
we
then
have two
the
jobs.
job name. Yeah, the name cube cluster create, and then 67 should be. Where's 67? Isn't 67 the next job? Keep going down.
68.
68. There you go.
Yeah. So workflow nodes. There you go. That's good. So we have count equals 2. So that means So again, so this is exactly what it is, right? We have 2 nodes here.
Yep.
So that's why the count is set to 2. Come back. Okay, that's why the count is set to 2. Somehow you get an ID again. I don't care for that, but then you have. Okay. So one thing I'm actually interested in doing here is represent that and put that in our API somehow, right? And one way another problem is these two JSONs can have like one word missing or changed in between them, and the JSON schema converter that I'm using will consider that as 2 different ones, and it will try to create 2 different. So what I end up doing is basically, because that's an array, I'll delete one of the entries from the array so that the schema structure is a little bit simpler. And then copy that in, and you'll see the full flow of the terrible way I do this. It works, so I'm not gonna complain too much. So I'm gonna copy that in, generate that schema, copy that, go here, copy this, paste that in, get the YAML, copy that, come here. Now, yeah, you were laughing, JJ, but that's been my life since last 2 days ago.
I'm laughing with you, Mofi.
Yeah.
With you.
Okay. All right. I hear you. Okay. So I have this. I'm going to have to find this endpoint. So it's, where's that? It's here. So I'm going to have to go API /API/v2. I totally forgot what it was. So workflow_jobs. So workflow_jobs, curly ID, curly. Then we have workflow nodes. What it is? Yeah, workflow nodes. Workflow nodes. That's the one we're looking for. Here we have all that fun stuff, and 200, it doesn't have any response. So I'll have to come in here and say $ref, and see how slow it gets editing this file. I typed this like 4 seconds ago. Oh my God. So what do you want to call this? Oh man, 2 slashes. We want to call this
workflow activity ID. No, workflow. It was the term they used, wasn't it?
Yeah. So the name of this path is workflow jobs, right? Workflow nodes. So workflow jobs, workflow workflow, nodes, list. That's how I've been naming everything else. I'll stick to that. You see this shit? I mean, one nice thing I'm gonna say about this though, I spelled work wrong. To come back and fix this. That's I can't even come back and fix. I need a better computer.
It's okay. We all do.
So another thing I've noticed, like every time I'm like live streaming or doing like video related things on the computer, CPU usage just like through the roof. Anyway, so why is it thinking it's an error? Like, why doesn't it not like it? Oh, property dollars. Oh, yeah. Of course it's not. So I have the wrong property. Tab once. Okay, now it should be happy about it, right? Can't even tell if the error is like error or it's just that it didn't get fixed yet. Another thing is you'll see I have now 5 models that I added. Last build actually worked. I could show you that it's doing stuff, but oh, there's also an endpoint that we can make use of to update the project from an API call if you wanted to. Remember how you had to do stuff. So we could set it up so that every time we add a new inventory, we make a webhook, almost like a webhook call to update our projects from Travis or something. Okay, so this did stuff. Oh, cannot resolve reference. So it doesn't know what it is. That's good because I have not written that yet. So, oh, towards the bottom already. Good. So now I have to add a new, what I usually do is scroll up just a little bit, just a tad. See, each of this reference is so big. I feel like if I were to be a little bit more diligent about it, I probably would have done something where I build this, because I think a lot of those things I'm generating again over and over because like the same, like each of those structures are made up of similar things. I am just recreating for every single schema. So if it was not 70,000 lines long, he's gonna see if there is any way to create lower level units that I can build up to bigger things. But right now, I don't think that's gonna work out too well in my favor.
Yeah.
So this, now I gotta paste my giant, well, this thing. So I paste that. And my computer is completely frozen now. Oh no, it's pasted. Okay. Just it thought about it. But one nice thing about like Golang here though, like when I paste some YAML, it actually keeps the indentation right. Like wherever I copied it, pastes everything in the right indentation from then on. So if that was not working, I would just like give up and not do anything. So it's okay. So we are here. We're good with this. Now we're gonna save this and generate it again. And if this one works, I want to test this one out myself to see if it actually works. If it does, it will be glorious. And well, in the meantime, we can probably explore a little bit of some of the other endpoints we have built. So we have one for the project list response that is supposed to be able to list all the projects. We have one for workflow job templates list. Okay, that's the one we're gonna probably like quite a lot. So if I just comment, so okay, we have this one instead of that one. So if I run that and have a new terminal window, how do I get a new one? Just like so. Here it is. So if I do go run main.go.
Wow. Tab complete's not even working.
No.
Dang.
No. You saw I typed main.go, JJ.
It's never easy, Mofi. It's never easy.
Oh, it doesn't have payload? What? Hold on. Job templates. Oh, that's not the one. Aha, that's the one. Okay, hold on. Give me one sec. So job templates response, it is response.go, and this one is job template response. I have to find job template response object is. I'm gonna close it. Yeah, that was something I wrote earlier and wasn't working anyway. Close others and then go back, open up. I swear my computer is usually not this slow. It usually moves. Job templates dot job. So you have a bunch of these functions that are available. Templates. I think it's gonna be the first one, job templates list, but I could be wrong. So it takes Neil, comma, bearer token. What does it just return with? Job templates list. Okay. So let's go there real quick. And we have this thing. Okay, this one has a payload. Okay, good. That's the one we wanted. And here, if everything else went well, when I run this, I should just print out all my job templates that I have available. It's going to be a giant JSON object, so no one's going to be able to read it, but it is there. It is going to be there. Here we go. Excellent.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Another reason this is probably running a little bit slower is that it's a giant, like a library here that when you do go run, it has to compile it first. If I were to go build first, this first, and then, so the build, that's the beauty of a compiled language. Once it's compiled, it's going to be faster, right? So hopefully, maybe, I don't know. But like right now, so it is really faster. Also, like you have to understand, my computer in general is being extremely slow right now. Like you saw how slow it, when I tested when I was not sharing my screen, it was working like a regular API call. It doesn't do any more than basically setting up HTTP transport that makes an API call, like a GET call. So in the meantime, let's see on our other terminal if it finished. It hasn't. Okay, so in the while that happens, let's go and explore the idea that we can get the ID of the job that's running and tower job. How do we go about finding that? Like if we can find the workflows ID, that would be marvelous. That'll be great. If we can get that information. So it's saying we have a variable called tower job ID. Okay, let's go in the documentation and see.
Yeah, I'm Googling some stuff over here too.
Okay, you do that on the side. I could do that on this side. And so tower template. It would be nice if they had like a list of all available variables everywhere.
Well, I found this almost instantly. Where are you? This guy.
Okay. Oh, Ansible and Ansible are special variables. I like special.
There you go. Workflow job ID. That's right there under Ansible Tower.
Excellent. That's the time you play the excellent, JJ.
Excellent.
Yeah. Oh, we have job name, job ID. Yeah, nice. Yep. That's awesome. So we can actually get the tower job ID and the workflow job ID throughout everywhere. That's awesome. That is awesome.
Well, so while we're waiting, let's actually see it work. So
let's make up a new thing. So
just like what is it, debug? Just like do a debug on it.
Yeah. But we have to still create like a playbook. Do you want to put that on the actual playbook thing or?
Your call, man. I'm good either way.
I
It would
don't
be kind of
think-
nice to have like just a random playbook that gives us information, just so we
Okay.
have that. So we have a template. We have that playbook, so we can say, hey, you want to see a basic playbook of just giving you some information? Here you go.
Okay. In the meantime, we'll keep an eye out on. That's gonna take a second. Okay. Documents, Golang. Was it in Golang? It wasn't in Golang. It was in Ansible. I have been pretty diligent about keeping my ordering good. Git full. Okay, it's up to date. Git remote. What did I do? Dash V. Okay, I think GitHub automatically redirects stuff, right?
It does.
Okay.
When
so
when you push, it'll say, hey, this moved. You should
Okay.
update your .git directory.
Okay. Because I don't want to. I could technically just change the. Anyway, everything is just so slow. We're gonna come here into the playbooks and we're gonna add a new playbook folder. It's gonna call it info. On this one, we should just like print out all the different like info stuff we could get out of this.
Yeah, there's actually a Ansible-M setup and a host name you want to talk to, and it'll actually list all the Ansible variables for you.
Yeah, okay.
That's we want to make it. Again, any work we do now, eventually someone's going to be going to have these questions, and if we have
Yeah.
a way for them to see it, be like, hey, here, that we gain so much more out of it. But this also now means if we're going to start using these Ansible variables and special variables, that's where that gather facts comes into play. So we're gonna have to like I was saying, we should stop this because we never use any of these. Now, if we're going to start doing them, we should probably keep the gather facts on there.
Let's do that. And task is the same level. Okay, this is the same level, and this is gonna be print job ID, and this is just what debug.
I believe it is just debug, yeah.
And message. I mean, like the other day I found that I could like write some Ansible playbook from memory, and I was both shocked and awed. Like what?
Yep.
So one of them you said what? Tower.
Tower _score job ID, or do AWX job ID.
You think AWX would work? I feel like Tower would be the one it said as Tower. Probably.
According, note these variables can be optionally start with AWX instead of Tower.
Here you go. Optionally started there. Yeah, okay, cool. Because we are using AWX, which is the open source upstream version of Tower, for those of you in the chat. Yeah, so that's what we're gonna use here. Keep it simple. Just do this one, or
no, do workflow job ID. And we do template name too.
The other issue is like this might not be part of a workflow. I don't know how that get reconciled, but it's a good test. You can check it.
We should create a workflow that does it.
No, I'm just saying if it's not part of a workflow, what happens to this?
Does it
understood. Crash and burn?
Yeah, good point.
AWX workflow job ID. And it's also possible that we didn't replace ours with AWX. It could still be named Tower. Okay, so what else did you want to print?
Workflow job ID name.
Workflow job ID. There is no job ID name.
The bottom two. I have a feeling those two will be useful for us to know.
Job, okay. Job name. Yes. Okay. What would be really cool if we could get the workflow, like if you could get the like what. Oh no, never mind. It's fine. Okay. What am I doing? Okay, I'm here. Should be here. Okay. Autocomplete, is it good or bad? Okay, AWX workflow job ID name. Is
You're a
that how?
you're a workflow ID.
Oh, thanks. It's a job name, not ID name. Okay, so that's what we have, and we're gonna quickly do a okay git add git commit dash m add info playbook and git push origin master. Oh, remote.
See?
Okay, so it's now have been successfully pushed. Now we're gonna go to our AWX stuff and get our hands on the project first. Update that real quick. Update this cube admin play. Oh, the question, did it update automatically too? I think we updated ourselves.
No,
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
we did.
Oh,
We updated
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
We are nice to our computers.
Mhm.
Real quick, a job template. So gonna call it info. Project would be cube admin playbook. Playbook would be info main.yaml. I mean, the problems of not finding our playbooks is a thing of the past. I feel like we have done good or done well. So enable concurrent jobs. And what is a webhook even? We could just set up webhook directly here. Cool. I don't know what that means. Okay, so we're gonna leave this and gonna give it a quick launch and see what's what. Damn it. Undefined. Yeah, it could be tower. Unless because we probably didn't replace it. It optionally could have been something else, right?
Yeah.
Let's go back to tower and see if that works. If that doesn't work, then I don't know. We're done. We're gonna move on. Probably never happen. I think we're physically unable to move on from things. Okay. Is there any limit for how long GitHub will keep on trying to, how long GitHub will continue to do the redirect?
No, I don't think so.
What if like I create a new repo under my name with that thing? That's a good thing. I could test it. Did I say update on launch? I didn't. Oh, I think update on the project itself has the update on launch thing. That's why sometimes our job start takes like a little longer, because right now it's pulling the project itself.
Here we go. Damn it.
No, the first one got it. The second one failed because it's not a workflow.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Now I wonder if it actually did on the first one too, and it failed on the second one. Yeah, it failed.
Yeah.
It passed here. So AWX and Tower both works. So they said both. Okay, so it actually passed the first job both times. It actually failed on the thing. That I'm happy with that. I mean, Yeah, we have to do our due diligence to figure out if it's not part of a workflow or anything, but I can just easily create a workflow template and I can call it
Workflow.
Infowars.
Nice.
Info workflow and enable concurrent jobs. Save that. Workflow visualizer, and I'm gonna add this info thing in there. Always run it and save that. Now, if I launch it, let's see what has what. All right.
Huzzah! So that just makes life significantly easier, especially for our notifications now, because we can tell everything.
Man, that deserved a well-earned stretch. You want to give a 5-minute break for a quick stretch? We've been doing for over 1 hour, 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's a good call. All right, cool. Yeah, we'll be back in. Stick around. We'll be back in just a little bit.
Okay. One break.
we go. We're back.
All right. While we were on break, the client build finished, and we wanted to see if we could get our workflow node run. I can't even pronounce the whole thing, what it does, but we wanted to see, we have supposed to have a new model, which we have here, workflow something. What did he call?
Workflow node list. No.
Yeah, workflow jobs, workflow nodes list. That's the one we're supposed to get. Oh, you get ice cream. Where's my ice cream?
Some of the best ice cream in the world right here.
Is it?
It's the Magnums.
Yeah. No, I'm aware. What is the flavor you got there?
Caramel.
Okay, that is arguably one of the best. Yes, I would have to agree.
For a while, they had the little pints also of the Magnum ice cream with pints with the broken things inside of it and to break the shell on it.
Yeah.
I don't know why they don't have it in Texas anymore, but the last time I was in Belgium, they had the same thing, but they had like a line of different flavors in there too. And I'm like,
ooh, nice.
Damn Belgians and their chocolate.
All right, let me show you something that is better than Magnum
All right.
ice cream. Probably not better, but like pretty close. So we need to make a call, and we have this endpoint available where you can pass a parameter and my token, just like we have been so far, and get the response back. If you are sneaking ahead and looking at my terminal, you see that I already got it, but I'm going to go through the process of how I got there because it was a little bit of a spin there. So if I want to get a param, because I'm going to pass that to it, and my params is under workflow. Well, before I do that, let me look at what does this function actually need. It needs two things. Auth info, which we have been passing, so we have access to that already. We also need to pass in this params object, which is a pointer to workflow jobs, workflow nodes, list params. Again, the naming is not probably the cleanest, but you get the idea. Workflow jobs is the name of the package. Workflow jobs, workflow nodes is the name of the thing we called. So that's why the naming is a little bit weird. So this is a workflow jobs, workflow nodes list params, JJ. And it looks like you can pass our ID just like so. So naive me, who was much less wise than I am now 4 minutes ago, thought, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna just create this params object, just like so, and that is params is coming from workflow jobs, and under workflow jobs I can say workflow jobs, workflow nodes list params, and pass in my ID as 65, right? Like this seems valid. This seems like it's something that normal people would be doing, and I can pass in my param, right? So, and again, this is a complaint is basically this is not params, of course. This is the complaint here is that this is not the same type, mainly because that's supposed to be a pointer. I can just convert that into a pointer, right? And world seems to be good, like we're happy.
Yes.
Now, if I were to run this, and this was my mistake too, JJ, to think this was right. And if I were to run this now, you would see that I got a panic. Oh no, panic. In Go term, panic is the worst thing you could have. So we got a panic. I'm not happy about it. Let's come back and let's think about why did you get a panic? And this is, I mean, you have to figure out only once, like myself, so if you were to actually pay keen attention to what is happening here, we can manually create this ourselves, but if you actually scroll down just a little bit, you'll see that there are some values here as well. We have this timeout and context, and timeout is something we can't even set ourselves. So if you were to create this up, because it's a not exported value, right? If I were to create this struct myself, what would end up happening is this timeout would get set to 0. And then when I make the API call, I get my context deadline exceeded because again, my timeout is set to 0. So immediately after you make the call, it times out. Now, again, I
thought Go was fast. I thought Go was fast. So shouldn't a timeout at 0 be fast? Fine.
No, Go gets it before you request it. It just
nice. There you go.
Yeah,
there you
you
go.
make a call, then you say like Go, be like, check your email. I sent it to you last night.
Nice.
It uses your Ansible Gmail thing.
There you go.
Okay, so it has actually the generated code also have this helper functions that new workflow job is node list params. You can create one that comes with the default timeout. Excellent. We can do that as well as, yeah, that's the one pretty much we need. And that's what he ended up doing. So I'm gonna say new workflow nodes. I'm gonna have to delete this part to see what that does. New workflow job node list params. Once you do that, you get yourself access to that thing. And then we can say params dot set with ID, pass in the ID, and that's it. We do
Nice.
that, make a call to this. It compiles, it runs, and more importantly, probably works. I don't even know. It does work. Data comes back. All is good. I could also be, I think if I just do this, no, not this. Hold on. Python -m JSON.tool. If that does something, I don't know. Isn't that the one that he used to like pretty print Python stuff? Here you go.
Yeah, JQ. I think you have to do JQ dot. Oh, that's true too. That'll work.
I did the Python, but anyway, so it get the result is the same result we were seeing there, and we also get to see the summary fields, the different fields we had. Okay, we have one problem. This is interesting because it's supposed to return 2 objects, return only 1. No, not happy. Maybe I messed up somewhere in the structure I created for myself on this. Entirely possible. Gotta go back and kind of like figure out why this is not doing exactly the way I would want it to do it. Results supposed to have 2 arrays things. Why does it have only 1?
So, hey, Spencer. So we are working on the Go SDK for AWX. Mofi has walked through a, for lack of a better term, convoluted way to get the JSON Swagger, the Swagger JSON correct. And now we are trying to get one of our happy path endpoints so we can call to it.
So the code is unreadable, but another point is this code is generated. So even if it could read it, it's not much readable either. Like it's pretty unreadable.
Okay, make your terminal bigger because that's actually what we want to see.
Okay,
right?
so make
the actual code is just boilerplate.
Why the terminal wouldn't? Okay, so I made the thing bigger, but terminal wouldn't go bigger. Come on.
Huh.
Okay, hold on. Let me figure out the terminal font. I can probably change in the preferences here. Editor, terminal. I'm not looking for plugins. System settings. Tools, is that there? That's not there. So okay, so font, that's there. Okay, editor font. If I could make this font like 18. This is, I think that's just the editor. Window.zoom level. Okay, where's that? So view menu. Okay, hold on. Okay, the terminal is hard to read too. Okay, window.zoom level. Where is that at? Here it is. It is. That didn't help. That went backwards.
Mhm.
Well, I could do another thing. I have my terminal here as well. My terminal, I have full control over how big things are. So I could do it here. And again, I'm also open to suggestion. It's like if there is a cleaner way to do this, because I have like gone around a few iterations on this, and it doesn't seem like I have too many other options to do this either. Because again, this was not my first choice. If this is, as JJ put out, it's a really convoluted way to get the data I want out of this. But documents, Golang, prod, AWX. Is that ls models? That's not what I wanted now. ls models. Yeah, that's probably what I want. Okay. So if I were to make this a little bit, I can make this any size I want, which is good. Okay. All right. So if I were to do go run main.go jqr dot, I'm going to do python -m JSON tools tool. So, okay. So what is happening there? I'm going to make them separate then, because I can make this one bigger a little bit more and keep this. Okay, so somehow the schema I have provided is not translating well if I have more than, this is supposed to be an array, but somehow it only gets one back. So we'll have to see what did I put in there so that its data is coming back this way. Something I can do it on the background and figure out. But the idea is, this is how I managed to get the data out. I'm just copy. Okay. That's the VS Code, but this is not VS Code. This is Golang. The reason I was using Golang is because VS Code was struggling when I had that many different, like when I generated code, that many files, and the auto completion on Go was really struggling to get information out there. So, so if I would have to kind of like go through pretty much line by line on that to figure out the information why it is not returning 2 in the array, it's just returning 1. JJ, you have any first thoughts where we can look at?
No, nope.
That was fast, JJ. Thank you. That was a fast no. I would rather take a fast no.
Fail fast, Mofi.
Fail fast. Yeah, fail fast. I mean, another way to handle this would be, because we don't really care too much about the structure of the object as much. We just care that the data comes back as JSON. We could ask it, say that all the data this is gonna return some data that's gonna be JSON. I'm not gonna give you a proper schema for it. I think that is also possible to do. That is also gonna save us a lot of time in generating this. Yeah, so this YAML object is the Swagger definition that we're using to generate the client and model code. So the model code we generated was this one, and this one has a struct at the top level. We have this result object, which is this tuple, and this is a custom serializer, whatever. So this is this thing. So again, the naming on this is even worse than what it was before. So what I'm thinking is, instead of having this level of fine-grained control, because I don't care.
So you're saying AWX doesn't support a Golang SDK?
Yes.
You generate, yeah, that is exactly what you're saying. Yep.
So AWX has this API open, like you can make API calls directly to it, but it doesn't have some sort of, it has a Python CLI, but it doesn't have a Go SDK. And I'm just generating it this way. And honestly, again, I'm still pondering the idea that because I don't need the whole AWX SDK completely, yeah, I would just hit the API with Carl. I am also thinking that might be a better choice for us anyway, because I'm gonna have to write some code myself, but at least it will be something I write and I know exactly what's going on, rather than having this giant generated code that for the most part, because the Swagger is not fully fleshed out. If the Swagger was fully complete and it was doing the right things all the time, I would probably go for the client. But right now, since it seems like a lot of work to make the Swagger nice, and we have to continuously do this work over and over every time AWX changes anything in their upstream, because again, our project is not there anything they have to keep backward compatibility for. Yeah, so this was an interesting thought process exercise, and see if that works. And I proved to myself that it does work, but it might be more effort than it's worth in the long run. So I might just like create a small subset of the endpoints that I need. Okay, so just another way I could go think about doing this is, so I took the Swagger definition, fit it into Postman, and Postman generated this AWX collection. And Postman has a way to also generate code. So if I were to, let's say, list activity stream, whatever that is, I could get the Go code generated out of that as well if I wanted. So that's another thing I could try. So yeah, Postman is awesome. And another, like, so for our AWX stuff, I already published, like, it can create a collection. You can publish this collection online too. Postman it's so great. Once I like dive more deep into Postman at some point, there should be a stream just on Postman, because it has so many different ways to do things. Like, you can mock your collection, monitor your collection by running tests on it. You can do like benchmarking. You can do some load testing. It's just so cool. Anyone that has ties to Postman, if you can get someone from Postman to come and talk to us about this stuff, that'll be pretty cool too. I need to figure out.
I might actually know someone.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna figure out if I know someone from their dev relations team, and they should come on and talk, like, sing their glory, because it is actually really cool. Anyway,
great.
so yeah, I feel like we have hit one of those impasses here, where we gotta kind of like at this point just decide for our project what is gonna be easier in the long run. And I honestly am kind of, I'm really excited about this client code generation stuff, and it's pretty cool. But I am slowly more leaning towards because we don't need the whole API subset. Like, out of 530 requests, we probably care about 15 to 20 of them. And I like the amount of process I have to go through, or the amount of libraries I'll have to end up writing myself to get this to work nicely with my stuff. I don't know. I might end up just like writing a library myself from scratch and only implement the ones I care for and open it up. If anyone wants to implement anything, it's going to be open source project, but it's not going to be generated anymore. Thoughts, JJ?
No, I mean, you seem like you're walking down the right path here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, code generation is cool, but as long as you have the right thing to fit to it, right? If you have the right Swagger YAML to fit to it, that would generate the right code. That's great, because code generation, you can't really have any more logic. You can't even edit the code because it's generated. So every time you run the generation, it's going to rewrite any fixes I make to it. One thing that could like help, because again, the code is, for lack of a better term, ugly, the generated code, right? I'm not gonna try to justify this naming workflow job, workflow nodes list any day. But that being said, in JSON, if I could say, sorry, oh yeah, Swagger to response JSON. So if I could say that this is gonna be just like a JSON object, I don't care what the structure of this is, that would have been so great. Could I just hit type object and would it work? Insomnia. Yeah, so since Postman is built on top of the Chromium V8 engine, it is a memory hog. My brother as well is a big proponent of Insomnia, and he's like, every time he sees me using Postman, I think he dies a little inside. And he's like, why are you using Postman? It slows down the computer so much. I'm like, yeah, but Insomnia is pretty cool. I actually have Insomnia here too. My machine. I used both of them, but I feel like Postman feature-wise, Postman have a ton more. Again, it's a feature envy thing. Probably 95% of those features, I don't even know what they are at this point. The collection I found out yesterday that it's something that does something. But Insomnia, okay, well, now is the time for Insomnia to shine, and it's gonna slow down like that. Okay. Yeah, so Insomnia's UI interface is much cleaner in my opinion. It's super clean. It works pretty great, and it looks pretty good too. It has dark mode, so I'm already like 80% in. But yeah, Insomnia is great. It's just that I feel like Postman, I just have used it a little bit longer, and I probably know a little bit more about Postman than Insomnia. But Insomnia looks like it does like a very minimum set of things really well. So yeah, if I'm just testing I have actually tested some of my stuff I was doing with Insomnia when I downloaded it. But when I was trying to create this collection from Postman and the code generation part of Postman, I mean, I don't think Insomnia has any answer to that. So I had to go to Postman for it. Yeah, Postman for most cases probably will end up being too heavy anyway. So I am thinking if I in the schema, if I just say type like object, would it just return the entire thing as a JSON object and don't bother trying to map it anywhere? If it did, I honestly wouldn't care at all. Like it's just like, okay, I just need to get the JSON object. I'm happy. Okay, let's test that. If we can say that, I think we can salvage this still. Give me one sec. I'm gonna change the versioning one to just say type object and be done with. And see, each of this list is so long.
Really is. Really is.
Again,
By the way, I found 2 dev advocates for Postman already. Well, no, I got introduced to them, so hopefully,
nice.
maybe even next week, we might be able to do a stream on Postman and some power tricks or whatever.
Oh yeah, I mean, I basically know 0 things about Postman, but it's still enough to do some cool stuff. Definition, this one, API version response. That's the one. I'm going to say, oh, this already says type object. It has the properties. What if I don't pass in the properties? Would it just work?
Maybe. Let's try it.
I did the command to add comment. Okay, now it's commented out. Generate the code again. Swagger, generate client. That's gonna take a second. Wow, like Spencer I'm totally not cheating by knowing all the answers to this. He got 14 points. Okay. Yeah, I some of the answers I knew. Yeah, I can also try to do that quiz there. It's not available, Spencer. I tried to go to the link. It was not available. Huh? What? It didn't. Okay. Oh, it works now. Cool. This protocol of internet communication sits on top of IP, which I have no idea what that is. Yeah. I think you do like this, and it sends me the question. Say the answer. TCP. No, it's not an audio thing, is it?
No. Well, come on, Mofi.
Damn it. I thought it was. Oh, you just type it in. Okay, good. Oh, okay, cool. The method of control flow. Da, 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 da. Well, I'm just like wasting time now while this builds so that I can test that works. I don't know what. You have anything else to share, JJ? In the meantime, we can get before we can get to that.
No, not really, to be honest with you.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've made good progress across the board.
Yeah, no, I'm just like super happy about this, the getting the Ansible IDs and the job ID and other stuff, because that's gonna be super helpful. So let me quickly try to draw a picture of what we're thinking, how we're gonna try to achieve this. I think that'll be good for us to keep it in record so that I can come back and be like, what did he say we're gonna do again? So let's say we have this info workflow. So what I'm thinking here, so open this. Okay, thank you. So we have this, let's say we're running some job here. And after this job finishes, I want to say I have another ending step where we'll come in and say, this is the step where we, get all the IDs, my workflow ID, and also make a call to our backend service and basically register that this job completed. So this is, and with this, we can now then connect, because when we start the job, we will store that this is the job that started with the cluster name. And after we finish this, we can then connect back and update the information that this cluster's name job was finished. So yeah. So that's what, and it's quite simply all we need to do, right? Like we just need to get the information back to our application somehow. And yeah. Right, JJ?
Yep.
Okay, cool. What else? Also, it looks like you can connect a workflow as a step.
Yeah. Would make sense, right? Like you could wrap some things around and then to go off to a workflow to go do some more stuff. Maybe you just need to do the workflow once or twice, but yeah, well, that makes sense, right?
But I
or if it fails, kick off this other workflow to do something else, right?
But I do like this flow that we have. We can create this flow where we can say, oh, if it always run this particular step, but if it sometimes you can run, so you can select this on success, run this, then you can do another one. Let's say on failure, do this, and like you can basically go pretty crazy if you want to. It wants the full name. Oh, the author. Okay, yeah. Can just have. All right. In the meantime, I have not wasted enough time, JJ. It's still building.
Wow, still going.
It's I don't like it. It is a pretty hefty sized Swagger. I mean, I know people have like generated clients that is millions lines long, but this is still not the tiniest Swagger in the world.
All right.
JJ, have anything not about this, but in general, because we're in the process of wasting some time?
Yeah, I'm patiently waiting.
Oh, so once you get a client up, what's your goal after that? Okay. Oh, Spencer to the rescue. So right now, when we create this bunch of clusters, what I do is I keep hitting the API over and over. You get stuck on the UI until that is done. And once that is done, it is like you come back, like you get the information, like it's done. We were switching that to Ansible or AWX. So you just submit the job. My backend application calls AWX to start the jobs. So send the jobs to AWX, as well as we can also get information from AWX by what is happening to the jobs about, right? Like if a cluster creation worked, and not only cluster creation, we're trying to do some things like post provisioning. So you create a cluster, you want ST install on it. You have that. You want to create a cluster. You want to have Tecton install on it. You can create a playbook for doing that. So, oof. Verge. Okay. Qiskit. Success.
Mhm.
Oh, question undefined.
Undefined.
JavaScript. JavaScript. It's not JavaScript. Come on. If it's undefined.
What is it? Was it mode? No. The JavaScript error where it comes back with that 2 brackets. Oh God. Null.
God
damn.
I can't do this. Yeah. I mean, I feel like if we can find the answer to what undefined is equal to, or the question undefined answer to, we can pretty much answer 80% of JavaScript's problems. So Rex, get at it. We're doing humanity a great service by figuring out what undefined means. Did JJ send me something?
No.
Someone else sent me something then. Anyway, yeah. So this time is actually cooking away. It's doing some stuff. It's going through each of those individual objects. So if I see that just by setting it as object but not setting any property, we get something back, this would be so great. This would be too good, because then actually it becomes much easier. For all the things we're missing, I will just add a type object to everything.
God, I can't remember that joke.
What joke?
It's driving me crazy. Well, I can't remember it. That's the problem.
Oh, like, do you remember the essence of the joke, or like what?
No.
Oh,
God damn it. Is it object? Yeah, object in JavaScript, where it errors with the object of this object.
aha! It is now done.
So when it errors with that, that's the JavaScript joke. That's right. There you go.
Yeah,
it's not funny anymore because I missed it, but
you did.
I did.
Pretty much messed it up. Oh, I think this will work. This is just the API interface. So if this is an interface, that means I should be able to say version list to this and comment out all these things. I still have a payload. I do. Okay. So we might have a chance yet, JJ.
Let's see it.
It has a payload. Yes. Okay. Oh, okay. This is gonna just give me the version, right? So that's fine. Might work. Fingers crossed.
Come on.
This building up some suspense.
It really is, isn't it?
Yes.
Excellent.
It is working. Okay, excellent. We can just ignore completely any of the folder file structure because we don't care, because we're not trying to create a relationship like that. So we will just get the data back, because this is just our way to get data from this so that we can like do something with it. So
wonderful.
Well, there are still some things it would be nicer if we could get more information on, things like but like the thing is, we could, if we just get like a JSON object, we can then understand how to deal with that JSON object on my Go side later. I don't have to deal with that here. Like I don't have to do that on the Swagger. As long as this gives me some raw JSON interface back, I can map it to anything I need to later.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, okay. So, I mean, I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing, because my push for the Swagger generation still is alive and well now, because I can kind of do this. But again, I will try out writing the SDK myself to see if I see anything better or worse between them. The nice thing about having a full schema on Swagger was that the object I was getting back had a full structure. I could query inside, like I could go inside to find results dot get the array. But now I just have to deal with that in a map structure, so it's fine. It's doable.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's progress in epic proportions.
Absolutely.
But what else do we want to show today? By next week, we should probably have this in terms of like working in a code structure where I'm calling this from my application directly to AWX. So more and more, we're going to see less and less of AWX UI, and which is going to be good.
Yeah. And yeah, the goal is to have it to be our driver, right? And it is Ansible is the unified language that everyone's going to use to do the post provisioning. And there's we have some really awesome opportunities to make people's lives significantly easier than installing stuff over and over and over again.
Yep. All right. So I don't know if you have anything else. If you don't have anything more else to add to this, I feel like this is a good place to stop for us.
Yeah, and we just hit 2 hours too, so it's a reasonable place to stop. You want to stop sharing your screen?
Yes.
Cool. All right, so we have a plan for next week. Though I am going to try to get some Postman people involved. It's amazing how you send up a little flare and all of a sudden things are happening, which is nice. And then we'll continue on through this. Awesome.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Does anyone else have any questions or thoughts? Give it a minute or two in the chat. Rex Roof, do you feel like you learned some stuff today?
Yeah, JavaScript.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe. Awesome. Well, good. Well, then I guess we'll call it. Thanks for sticking around, everybody. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.